Hey, I'm JC Warbeck.
And I'm Clarissa Scheidel. We
We're
are the founders of Three Putt Golf Co.
As avid golfers, we could never find ladies' golf clothing that was comfortable and stylish.
So we decided to create our own brand that is fashionable, comfortable, and size inclusive up to 3X.
Each three-putt piece is uniquely ours. Check out our collection at threeputtgolfco.ca or visit our socials under Three Putt Golf Co.
And remember, 3 putts build character.
Hello and welcome to the Unexpected Journeys podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Commer. In this podcast, we chat with people who have had something unexpected happen in their lives that means they have changed paths or they're helping somebody who has had something unexpected happen. And I am joined today by Mike Dahl from Medicine Hat. Mike, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, my pleasure, Stacey. Anytime.
Now, Mike, you and I used to work together a long time ago in Lloydminster, back when radio was a little bit more crazy, I guess. So we've known each other quite some time, and I wish that we were chatting under better circumstances today, Mike, but you had a very tragic loss in your family, the loss of your son, Christian, and you have created the Christian Dahl Foundation in his memory. So first of all, I want to talk about Christian himself and just growing up, he was 15 when he passed away. And, at a very young age, he was involved in so many sports. Every time I would look at your social media, there's, you're at this ball tournament or a hockey game or doing something. So tell me a little bit about what Christian was like growing up and some of his favorite things to do.
Absolutely. Christian was an absolutely fantastic kid. He was an absolute pleasure to have around. And, really, I mean, my kid, but definitely, ranking up there with my best friends. We had that kind of relationship, and he was a very smart guy. He was an honor roll student all the time, golden honor roll, and whatnot like that. And I'd like to say he worked super hard for that, but he was just naturally a very smart kid, which was really nice because he didn't have to worry about the grades and whatnot like that. I kind of chuckled because honestly, I don't think I went to a lot of parent-teacher interviews just because there wasn't any issues. So, but no, he was just awesome to have around. He loved sports, hockey especially. It was funny. We got him a net when he was 4, and that was my hope because I was a hockey guy growing up. So of course you want your son to play. He had zero interest, and that was another thing about Christian. He was going to do what he wanted to do, and if he didn't want to do it, he wasn't doing it. So much to my chagrin, he wanted nothing to do with the net. It got no use until he turned 8, which is a little later to fall in love with the sport than most kids. But that's when he got into it. And really, after that, a lot of times at the rink, a lot of times playing ball hockey and, having friends around. And I mean, that's really what he was about too, was his buddies. In the last couple of years, he spent so much time at the YMCA, which was attached to his school at Notre Dame, every day after school. In fact, I mean, he would go to the gym 7 days. We let him. We kind of told him, you got to take a day off once in a while. But it was nice because he started going. He was going by himself. And then eventually he got his buddies going. And I mean, that's where him and his friends ended up spending a ton of quality time was at the gym and doing cool things like, getting in shape. And I made sure I wrestled him probably when he was 14 and I could still win at that point. I wouldn't have had a prayer at 15. I was done. He was benching more than I weigh. So that wasn't going to work out well for me, but that's what he was all about. I mean, he was all about, sports and being a smart guy and having great conversations and really miss all those rides to the rink and talking about the game going in and, talking about the way things turned out on the way home. And also, I mean, too, it's probably not different than a lot of teenagers where you kind of wonder what's going on in their life sometimes because we'd sit down for dinner or whatever on the rare nights that we, weren't running to a hockey rink or a volleyball court for my daughter or whatever. And, hey, what happened in your day today? And you get the one word answers and you have no idea what's happening. But no, he was an excellent kid, very sarcastic with his friends, which they gave right back to him on every way possible. So I think it was, kind of the way, teens are built these days. And he was one heck of an awesome guy.
Well, Mike, the accident happened in July of 2024. And as we said, Christian was 15. And when I saw what happened, it was, it's heart wrenching to see. And I also saw such an outpouring of support for you and your family And obviously, just talking about Christian, he clearly had all the, connections and was just one of those kids that had those personalities that attracts people to him. So tell me how important it was, Mike, to have all of that support when you're trying to navigate a situation that no parent should ever have to navigate.
Absolutely. I mean, I would say one, amazing. And I think the next natural word to say would be unexpected. But having been a guy who grew up in Medicine Hat and, worked on some, various fundraising things and over the years and saw the outpouring of support from Medicine Hat on various things, to say I was surprised would be probably not true. Medicine Hat's really, really a place that, they reach to give everybody a hand up when, trouble comes for them, right? Because I mean, this is one of those things that I think it's everybody's worst nightmare. I mean, like, I know for me, like, even prior to this happening, I couldn't watch TV shows and movies where bad things would happen to kids or they got sick. Like, what is that one show, ER or whatever it is?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was outlawed in my house before that. I just couldn't take it when bad things happen. And then when it becomes reality, you're like, holy smokes. And I think everybody feels that way because, I mean, that's just everybody's worst nightmare, right? Is no parent, no person is built to go before their kids. That's just not in us as humans. That's not supposed to happen. But when it does, you got to figure out ways to get through. And in our case, we were lucky that we had a lot of hands and hearts lifting us up in so many different ways.
Mike, I saw Christian's friends would always, they keep coming around and they're doing, wearing the jerseys or they're showing up just to say hi to you guys. And obviously that speaks to Christian's personality and who he was as a person. But also, is that one of the reasons that you started the foundation, was seeing, these kids and they wanted to do something to keep his memory alive?
Yeah. I mean, with Christian's buddies, I mean, here's the thing. You've got to, no matter what happens in your life, you've got to find positives that somehow come out of it. You just can't let everything be negative and lay down and that can't be a thing. And and honestly, we often talk about how the greatest thing that's come out of losing Christian, although I mean you trade everything for getting Christian back,
Of course.
but with his 7 main buddies that have been around, like we'll purposely do things together every couple of months. Like we've done silly things like, had the boys over for a barbecue and we played bocce ball in the backyard because Christian used to always get mad when I made him play bocce ball. So I thought I'm going to make all his buddies mad and make them play bocce ball. So we've done that. We've gone out and done, just a golf round with just, the boys and us and that sort of thing. I mean, we, done chicken wings nights because Christian was a big chicken wing fan, and we've done video game hockey tournaments and we do all kinds of things. We always think those guys are so cool because they want to hang out with us old people.
Yeah.
And I mean, something else that kind of just came up with that group of guys. Like I had got engaged. Actually, this is kind of a different story that I really haven't shared a lot. But the last conversation in person that I get to have with Christian, his accident was on a Thursday and this was on a Tuesday. We were out on the back deck and I just got engaged to my partner Selena the weekend before, and I had asked the kids beforehand, if they were cool with it and stuff, and of course they were. But when we, came back to town and he came over on the Tuesday night, the last conversation I got to have was to ask him to be my best man. And
it's okay, Mike. Take your time.
Yep,
take your time.
So obviously that that can't happen now, and we kind of push the wedding down the road, obviously, but we still obviously want to do that. We want to get married, and just this past week, we had the boys over, and they're going to be standing in for Christian. They're going to be the grooms. So
awesome. Yeah,
pretty cool.
Just shows what kind of a group of young men they are. Like you said, just hanging in there too. So let's talk about the goal of the foundation, Mike. What is your goal? Like, what are you? I mean, obviously, Christian's memory is the big one, but like what is the main goal in the end of things?
For sure. I mean, it's a couple of things. I mean, after your worst nightmare comes true and you lose a child, one of the next things that you worry about is, are they going to be forgotten, right? And you don't want them to be forgotten. And I mean, honestly, we've been so lucky in our community with people stepping up to make sure he's not forgotten. I mean, from even, near the start where, near the accident site, we put up a just a small memorial cross. And all of a sudden there's hockey sticks and stuff out there. And it meant a lot, that happened. We had a company step forward to light the tree, which,
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool. So that was, that kind of stuff's pretty neat. We got a group of hockey moms that they plan a tournament. A hockey tournament is honor every year. That's for his friends and teammates and all the boys and gals in his age group. And they come together, once a year in April, once the hockey season's winding down. And it's really about, getting the boys out there. And I mean, probably see the logo on the hat. That's something
Yep.
that they created from the hockey tournament, which is really cool. I mean, that was something that came from the community, and eventually these things kind of did lead us down the road of the foundation and what do we do? Like, we weren't obviously ready to do that from any level. I mean, a grief journey is so different for everybody. I mean, I even look at, the people directly involved here and how different everybody's journey is. And there is no right or wrong way to do it. You got to do, what you got to do. But eventually we all got to a point where we thought we were strong enough that, okay, we want to be able to make a difference in his name. That's what we want to do. And so we discussed, okay, what does that look like? And then we had this crazy idea of starting a foundation, which for anybody that's ever started a foundation in Canada, it's not a small deal.
I don't imagine. Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Like, there's a lot of T's to cross and I's to dot. And we're very lucky that some of the people around us are fairly educated in how to do that. And we actually, once from the point we decided to when the foundation was official was 4 months.
Wow.
Which generally takes about 18. So
you don't mess around.
No, I mean, we were lucky to have the people we have. And then after that, we kind of decided with the foundation, because, Christian's the thing that he really enjoyed. I mean, it was, two things. He really enjoyed, hockey and being at the rink and the gym. Those kind of things is what he really enjoyed. And then, obviously his friendships with his buddies and stuff like that. And that could have been from the rink or the gym, or sometimes when they're all playing video games and more lipping each other off than they're actually playing video games. But nonetheless, that's where he really got joy. And I mean, being a sports family, growing up with, with our kids, like with, Christian and hockey and ball hockey and Mika and volleyball. And we know how tough it is to make that work sometimes with the cost of everything. I mean, I look at it right now. I mean, I don't think anybody I know is getting huge raises, but yet you go to the store to buy your groceries and it costs, 1.5 times, maybe 2 times what it used to cost.
Yeah.
I mean, just anywhere you look, things are up in price. So people even that, beforehand could afford things like sports and registrations and equipment and stuff. I mean, we knew how tough that was as a family and the sacrifices that you had to make, and you made choices and you were happy you made them. Because I mean, those are some of the greatest memories you're ever going to build with your kids is, and it's especially, it's those, it's those trips to the rink, even if they're in town, or the trips to the court, or, the trips to the field, whatever it might be. Those conversations that unfold in those times is just amazing. And I mean, they build relationships that last a lifetime. So what we wanted to do was to be able to bridge the gap a little bit. Like, there's, some good foundations out there and some good charities that work in this space. What's going to be unique about, the Christian Doll Foundation is it's going to be directly for Medicine Hat. And we're probably going to do it a little bit different than maybe some of the bigger organizations do. It's not that we'd ever dissuade people or discourage them from utilizing those. Please do. Like, let's utilize those other organizations like your kids sport and things like that. And then let's see what the gap is and see if we can help close the gap. So that's going to be, kind of it is going to be the point of the Christian Doll Foundation. Our mantra is setting the tone so all kids can play on, is kind of what we're doing, and set the tone with something. It's we're going to get maybe some copyright infringement from the TV show Shoresy, because Christian and I used to enjoy watching that one together, and that was always the big thing, was set the tone. So, and it was something we talked about before games, like, get out there and set the tone, right? So this is a commonality amongst us, and we talked about what the mantra is going to be, and that's it in its most simple form, is setting the tone so all kids can play on. So we're going to try to help bridge the gap so kids can play. And I mean, it's not just going to be hockey either. Like, this is
Mhm.
one of these things where, ironically enough, our foundation's not even really open quite yet, but we've been lucky enough to be able to help, I think, 8 or 9 kids in our community, which is cool. And I mean,
Yeah.
what's really neat about that is we had one particular kid that we were going to help out with a football camp, and when we connected with Connor McGough, is the guy's name, played in the CFL. He's a Hatter boy, and he runs these camps with raw football. And when he heard we were doing it, he said, "I'm going to give you 3 more." So all of a
Amazing.
sudden now we've got 4 kids that wouldn't have been able to take in this camp who
Yeah.
are, getting to be a part of it. And, so I mean, that stuff's really cool. And I mean, being that we really haven't got going yet, I suspect we're going to see those kind of partnerships come in
Mhm.
along the way, whether it's with organizations that do sports or music or art or whatever. We want to be
Yep.
able to help kids, whatever the activities are that they want to be a part of. There's financial barriers in Medicine Hat area. That's what the Christian Doll Foundation is going to be for.
At 3 Putt Golf Co., we design everything from the bottom up, so each piece is uniquely ours. We create golf apparel that looks good and moves with you. We are a Canadian company based in Saskatchewan. Check out the full collection at 3puttgolfco.ca or visit our social media under 3Putt Golf Co. And remember, 3 putts build character.
Now, Mike, you guys there have been a couple events, as you had mentioned, that like some of it is not put on by the foundation, but just, in Christian's name regardless. So what has happened so far? I think I saw hockey tournament and golf tournament. Can you tell me a little bit about what's happened so far?
Like, it's funny because I mean, when we started the foundation, we decided quickly, because I mean, our board with the foundation is a small group of us. I mean, there's 5 or 6 of us on the board, and then we've been very lucky to have an army of volunteers that want to get involved with whatever. But we decided quickly that, okay, we're going to do one fundraiser a year, like that's the foundation.
Mhm.
And that was going to be the Christian Doll Memorial Golf Tournament. But then it was funny because what started happening is we got these unexpected third party type of donations that came out of nowhere. Like, we had the Medicine Hat Oilman's Bonds get a hold of us and said, yeah, we want to raise funds for the Christian Doll Foundation. And we had SACA Kickboxing and the Cypress County Motor Company Inc. They got together and they did a charity barbecue and raised, I think it was about $1,200 on that occasion. The Ladies League at Desert Bloom does this give back night, and they picked Christian's Foundation, which I thought was awesome. And we just got a call the other day from a place called Golden Atlantis Aqua Park, which is a lake near here where they have a super cool splash park set up. And they're going to do a splash for Christian Day with all the proceeds going to his foundation. So yeah, starting off, we're going to do this one fundraiser, and that is still our plan, is to do the one fundraiser. But these amazing third-party things that have come our way has just been so heartwarming and overwhelming in the best way, because sometimes, like, you'll have a connection, or somebody in the family will have a connection, and then it kind of makes sense maybe why they're choosing us. But then we've had other ones where there really wasn't a big connection, and they chose Christian's Foundation anyway, just because of, the initial stuff that we put out, that okay, this is a road we're going down. Here's what we're going to do with the golf tournament. And I mean, with the golf tournament, like, 2 things happened. I mean, no, more than 2 things, but 2 things really, really happened. Like, when we decided to do this, we're like, okay, so sponsorships, the first level. And we went on it, I would say very lightly. And the response was so overwhelming. Like, it was unbelievable. Like, I mean, we ended up with sponsors that we never thought would be a part of it. And it was, completely unbelievable. And so with that, we decided early that, okay, if someone sponsored the tournament, we're going to offer them the opportunity to buy a team as well. And so, 1, we didn't think that many sponsors were going to come in. And then 2, we didn't think the uptake would be that huge from the sponsors to buy a team. But both these things happened. The sponsors came out like absolute angels. And then the amount of them that wanted to buy into the tournament. I mean, we had essentially, before we got going, we had reserved a couple of teams to get all of Christian's best buddies in, make sure that they were going to be a part of the tournament. Because, like, let's be honest, we hope they take this over someday. At some point. But anyway, so I mean, we had them in, and then in all honesty, we filled up before we even went to the public. We had 144 golfers signed up and ready to roll, and the sponsorship was crazy. And then the tournament itself, I mean, I think when we got into it, I think we were hoping for somewhere in the maybe the $10,000 area, something like that. We had talked to some people, and hey, sometimes it takes till the third year for a new golf tournament to be profitable. And this one brought in a profit of somewhere between $35,000 and $40,000, which is
That's
amazing.
incredible.
And
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking forward after this to, to getting to the next step. But I mean, that day itself was just, it was so unbelievable in so many ways. We got a picture taken early in the day because we knew we needed to do it early in the day before things got busy. Like we started setting up for the golf tournament that started at 1:00. We were out there at 8, and we had this sea of volunteers that were all there to do, various jobs, some of them quick in the morning, some of them all day long. And I mean, the work that they put in and how smooth they made that event run. And it wasn't credit to, to our board. It was credit to the volunteers
Right.
that this ran like it did. And we had so many of the players and sponsors say, like the golf tournament ran so smooth. We've never seen a first time tournament, run that way. And I mean, we had some cool things happen. Like we had live music going on before the tournament. When people got there, it really set the mood. Trent Rosette, one of our great local musicians, was on hand and playing the upbeat, fun stuff that really gets people, in a good mood, because that's what we wanted it to be. We wanted it to be a celebration of Christian and a celebration of the foundation, and then let's all have a great time out there, and then let's make some money, and then turn it back to our community, and let's open up some hours on the rink and in the gym and on the field and on the court, in the rehearsal studio, whatever it might be. And I mean, with the rules the foundation put out, essentially by our bylaws, we've got to disperse 90% of our funds prior to our year end, which I believe is the end of March in 2027. So that means we'll be doing a lot. I mean, there's going to be some hiccups and things. Like I think the toughest part of it is that we probably won't be able to say yes to absolutely everything, and that's a heartbreaker on that end of things. But you never know. I mean, if more sponsorship comes in, there's less no's as we go along, and we're going to say yes to as many things as we can, because I mean, as a family, we so believe in the value of sports and activities, and I mean what it teaches. I mean, it teaches responsibility, and it teaches teamwork and leadership and dedication. Like it teaches so many things that are going to extend so far out from your rink or your court or your field or whatever. They're things that they're going to help you with your family. They're going to help you with, your workspace, your career, all those things. They're going to be beneficial. And I mean, it's just, frankly, it's the right way for humans to treat one another, I think is the bottom line.
Well, Mike, you talk about all the sponsorship and support for the events you've had, and I know that you would never like to say no, but that leads me into the next question about launching a website and the application process. And if people just in general want to make donations outside of major events, because sometimes, people are just looking for a cause to donate to. How can they go and do that now, Mike? What's the best way to, if they just say, hey, we've got, an extra however much kicking around that we want to make sure it goes to a good cause, what's the process for that?
Absolutely. So, I mean, when we get into the part where we're officially ready to get going, because I mean, we've got to be sure, because I mean, we are a small board of 5-6 people.
Yeah.
And each athlete or musician or artist or whatever's family that you deal with is going to be a lot of communication and a lot of back and forth, and with the participating organizations where they want to do things. So with 5 or 6 of us doing that, we've got to open it in a window that we go, okay, we know that once we're official, we're probably going to be inundated with a lot of requests, because frankly there's a lot of need out there. There really is. And so we're going to do that when we're braced for the avalanche that'll come in. And so what'll happen is the website will go live at that point. It'll be christiandollfoundation.ca. And that's where families will be able to go and to fill out the application there. Something about our foundation that I think is going to be important is we guarantee anonymity. There's never going to be a post on social media identifying any of the kids or families that utilize the Christian Doll Foundation, because that's not what it's about. Every family, deserves dignity. Every family goes through, tough times, unexpected expenses, things like this. So, I mean, that's going to be something that's going to be core to our organization. And then on the donation side, I mean, the same thing. People can, go to the website at christiandollfoundation.ca once we're live. As well, we have a great group with the Christian Doll Foundation on Facebook that people can join up to and they can see some of the things that have happened. You'll see some cool stories about Christian there, and you'll also see some things, whatever the latest with the foundation is on what we're doing. So that's kind of the best places to find us right now would be the Facebook page for Christian Doll Foundation, and then once the website's live and active, that'll be probably the apex place to go as far as that's concerned.
Do you know roughly, Mike, do you have a timeline at this point as to when you think that's going to happen?
I think we're probably, we just came off the golf tournament in June, and then, there's some different realities for various people on our board that need to get, kind of straightened away before we're ready to go 100%. But I would fully expect we're probably going to be in the realm of August.
Yeah. So not that far away.
No, not too far down the road. It'll, there's still a few T's to cross and I's to dot, and we just want to make sure we're doing, everything 100% right, and that, this will be, and it'll be a foundation long term that people in Medicine Hat or people that value kids being involved in activities can trust, whether that's on a donation fund way or that's utilizing our foundation, Christian's Foundation, to support their family and their kids.
Mike, this is such a perfect way to honor Christian from everything that I've heard about him and seen. What would you want people to know about him if they've never met him and they're looking from the outside in from social media? What is the thing that, I mean, there's so many things, it's probably hard to list that made him so special, but what would you want people to know about Christian?
Christian was a hard worker. If he put his mind to something, it was going to happen. He was going to put in the time. He was never afraid to put in the time to something that he really wanted. So yeah, I mean, he was, very determined in that way. He was a very, very smart kid, and I always thought it really helped him in hockey. I always thought he thought the game really well, or, if he was going to the gym, he was going to make sure what he was doing was purposeful. So he'd do all kinds of research and whatnot like that. Or if, he didn't know something, he'd be going to, to Google to find out, because he loved to know, if he didn't know something, he liked to find out. We always joke because for whatever reason, he had this weird thing where he knew every flag in the world. Like we always called it fun with flags, like like Big Bang Theory.
Absolutely.
And we always joked with him about it, but he knew all these flags. It was really a strange thing. He was a smart, fun guy who really valued his friends. He valued his family. He valued time with both of those groups of people, and he was always the hardest worker, whatever he did, and I always really appreciated that about Christian. And I know we all really miss him, whether it's his friends or his family, and we all do. We miss him every day, and I mean, we'd much rather going back to being just a quiet family that just did the day-to-day stuff. Because I mean, Stacey, that's what you miss. Is just the day-to-day things, because people ask you, what do you miss the most? And I mean, a lot of times, you miss things like coming home and those one-word answers after school, or harassing him about what he put in his lunch, or this kind of stuff. You miss that. Like, you miss the really, really simple things, like getting up on a Saturday and have not much going on and going, want to go play a round of golf. Like you miss all of those things, and you miss even the things that irritated you at the time. Like, that's what's funny about it, because I mean, Christian was one of those guys, when he was really into the workout stuff, he was bulking, right? So he'd eat a whole bunch of stuff, and he'd mix up these terrible, gross smoothies, and like he'd cram everything in there. We went through so many jars of peanut butter in a month, I can't even tell you. And there'd be muffins crammed in there, and just everything that was a calorie load. But the problem was, he'd make these at 2 a.m. when he's playing video games with his buddies, and they're yelling and, having a great time. And then all of a sudden, now you get the blender going and banging it on the counter at 2 a.m. The stuff that drove you bananas. You'd give anything to hear that again. Like, I'd love to hear the blender banging on the counter at 2 a.m. or, the way I would say, I mean, both, figuratively and in reality, he left footprints wherever he went, because I mean, the guy walked heavy. You did not know, you definitely know he was home, and that sort of thing. So I mean, these are the things that you miss, or even the things that drove you a little bonkers as a parent in the moment. You'd give anything to have that back.
Well, Mike, I am so sorry for the loss and the fact you guys had to experience this, but thank you for doing so much good out of this. And honestly, like what you have accomplished already, just amazing. Like you said, you haven't even really got the foundation off the ground, and you've got all this support. So that just is so awesome. So we'll make sure that we update everybody when the website goes live. And thank you again for chatting with me. I know it's difficult, but wow, you guys have kicked some serious butt on this. So thank you so much once again, Mike, for chatting with me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Stacey. I mean, I got to say, just kind of as a closing, I mean, none of this could have happened without the support that we do have. And whether, that's at home with family. Because, I mean, there's a lot of times, like going through something like this where, you're not your best self. And in fact, the self that you were before doesn't exist anymore, frankly.
Yeah.
You're different. And, you thank the people around you that accept who you are now and support you. And, we've got so much of that, whether it's at home with our families and, like with whether it's you're talking about brothers and sisters or aunts and uncles or, cousins, whatever it might be, those people. And then the ones who, they're not directly related, but man, they might as well be family. We got, quite a few of those. And I mean, some of the selfless work that they're willing to put into the foundation. And I mean, then people stepping forward at every turn, whether that's volunteers or sponsors, or, I mean, it's just, the list goes on and on and on. We're lucky to be able to go down this road in this capacity because, we wouldn't be able to without all of the other people in our lives that, like I said, I mean, they accept the new people that we are and support us and, love Christian, which is awesome. Because I mean, honestly, as a parent, I don't think there's anything better, whether your kids are still here or, whether it's a situation like this, where if somebody shares a great story or a great memory about your kid and, what they did when you weren't looking, right? And it confirms to you that they are who I think they are, or they are who I thought they were. And I mean, so much of that has happened too. So thank you to everybody who's done that. We've had some amazing stories, told to us, and we're thankful for those every day. And I mean, none of this foundation golf tournament, none of these things would have happened without all of these people, standing in line and going, how can I help? And then being willing to dig in. So, and thank you so much for being willing to, shine the light on Christian's foundation. And we promise to do our best with every dollar taken in by this foundation and treat people with integrity and dignity as we go forward. And I mean, we're looking forward to whatever comes next. I mean, getting the foundation officially off the ground and taking, of course, all of the applications and working with families to make sports and activities happen for kids and families. We're looking forward to that. And of course, we're already looking forward to the second annual Christian Dahl Memorial Golf Tournament next year. We might have to get you out swinging a club next year.
Absolutely. Yes. I think that might be a good time for me to come out of retirement now that I've had my 15th knee surgery. I'm pretty much bionic. So.
Oh, you don't need knees for golf. Come on.
There you go. That's right. Well, Mike, thank you once again for joining me. Like I said, I know it's such a tragedy that happened, but you guys have done so much good. So many kids are going to benefit from this, and it's awesome what you're doing. So thank you once again for joining me, Mike.
All right. Love you, Christian.
Unexpected Journeys is produced and hosted by me, Stacey Commer. Executive producer is Sean Lannon. Podcast and host representation is Lemmon Entertainment. Thank you to our episode sponsor, 3Putt Golf Co. You can find us on all social media and podcast sites under the name Unexpected Journeys. Please like and subscribe wherever you are listening to us. We appreciate any and all feedback. Email can be directed to unexpectedjourneyspod@gmail.com. For sponsorship inquiries, send a message to jess@lemmonent.com. That's lemon with 2 M's. And thank you so much for listening.